All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you're coming in, say hello in the chat. Let me know if you are here. I know this is a bit earlier than we usually do this, so I'm just trying out different times right now. Straighten out this camera a little bit. There we go. Yeah, fam. Come on in, everybody. Make your way in. Say hello in the chat as you're coming in. Would love to hear from you. Coffee in the morning is necessary. It's a necessary evil. Or maybe I should call it a necessary good. I'm not really sure. I don't know. But as you're coming in, everyone, say hello in the chat. Would love to hear from you. Looks like it's taken a while for people to start showing up. Hey, I don't know if I've ever really done one this early, so we're trying it. We're experimenting. Now it looks like a few more people are making their way in. As you're coming in, please say hello in the chat. Let me know if you're here for the first time. Yeah, and I'd love to know, what are you doing today? What are you up to today? What are you most excited about your day today? For me, I'm excited to have a full work day here at home. I got a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm going to be recording and hopefully releasing a new episode of the Johncast today. I'm going to be working on a sermon continuing to work on a sermon for this weekend. I'm teaching at our church at their middle school ministry. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, let's give some shout outs to some folks who are here. Melissa Krieger, Nathan Ramsey, Jayadeep is here, Caleb is here. Ooh, Nevianet. I love that name. That's really cool. Teresa is here. Leanne is here. Samuel is here. Paul is here. Gabriel, Sahil. Oh, Iklas. I'm not really sure how to say your name. I'm sorry. I butcher names for a living on this live stream, and I apologize. Anyway, everybody, welcome to Q&J Today, the early version. Last night we were on here super late, about 12 hours ago exactly, and this morning we're trying it out early. So we'll see. I really like, the heart behind that is I want to figure out what time of the day is really going to be best both for me and for you all to be able to watch as well. I know we have people who watch sort of from all around the world, and so I want to be sensitive to that. I know there's a lot of you who are in school or you have jobs, and so I want to be sensitive to that as well. So we're trying out, different stuff. But in any event, this is the show where I hop on to answer your questions. So as we're getting started, start throwing questions over in the chat. I'm going to start pulling those and responding to those in just a minute. As always, people, I don't promise to have all the answers, because I don't, but I do promise to be as honest as I possibly can with you all this morning. What else? Oh, I should let you know that coffee is good, and also that today's show, as with every show, is brought to you by the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a great way for you to, one, guarantee that your question gets answered, and two, to help support this channel, to help me continue to be able to do this work that I do, that hopefully is encouraging you and moving you forward in your faith. That is the reason why I get up in the morning. That's the reason why I hop on here and do live streams, why I do everything that I do, to help people like you move forward in their faith. And so if you're able to give $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, however you're able today, every single dollar given in the Super Chat goes directly towards this channel, makes a huge difference in helping me continue to do this work. And so if you're in a place where you are able to do that, it's located just under where you type something into the chat. There's a little dollar symbol. You click on that. It's very, very easy. And like I said, guarantees that your question gets answered, and I would very much appreciate it. So if you're able to give in the Super Chat, please do. Now that that's out of the way, let's do it, people. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Let's answer some questions. So firstly, I want to answer, Ezekiel Hardy has been asking this question. Ezekiel was asking this last night, and I want to get down to it. So, do you believe it is appropriate to legally own a gun for protection as a Christian? This is a great question, and I think that the answer is much more nuanced than most people are willing to give it credit for. I don't think that it is a overall sweeping yes anytime because it's especially if you live in the US, we have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and so therefore, if you are legally owning a gun at any point, it's totally fine. But also, I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad either. I think it's definitely a personal choice, um, and regardless of whether you are a Christian or not, I think it is very, very, very important to go through all the proper protocols. And I would say even for someone who's responsible to go beyond the proper protocols, specifically if you live in the United States, because I am a believer that we don't necessarily have strict enough protocols for ownership of guns. I think it would be the responsible thing to do both for yourself, for your family, and for your fellow man to really go through the proper safety training, get all the proper certifications, really treat the gun with the respect that it deserves, because this is a powerful, powerful weapon that has the power to take a human life. And so I think it's very, very important, whether you're a Christian or not, and you choose to own a gun, to be incredibly careful and have an incredible respect for that gun. I have been in certain Christian circles where, the person sitting next to you in church is doing concealed carry, but that person has done so much training and has so much respect for that weapon. And I think that's really, really important. I think that's really, really important. So yeah, that's sort of what I would say. Thanks, Ezekiel, and thanks for your patience on that. Nathan Ramsey asks, who do you think the angel of the Lord is? Great question. Nathan, so I believe you are Catholic, and so I'd love to hear from you. What are the Catholic teachings on this? Because I'm not super familiar with it. Also, our good friends at the Bible Project, John Collins and Tim Mackey, they actually just came out with a brand new video yesterday on the angel of the Lord. I highly recommend that you go and watch it. I myself have not watched it yet. But I highly recommend going and watching their video, because I think they do a really good job of just looking at the bare bones of Scripture and tackling any sort of topic and saying, what does the Bible say about X? What does the Bible actually say? Which I think is really important. Let's see. Deborah Perry Vlogs asks, should I get baptized? That's a great question. So there are, first of all, Deborah, I think it's fantastic that you are even asking this question and even thinking about baptism. I think that's really, really cool. Also, there are a lot of different beliefs, even in this chat, surrounding what baptism is and what's its purpose and what it accomplishes. And so I am going to speak from my belief and what I believe baptism to be. And what I believe baptism to be is a public declaration of your faith in Jesus, of your decision to make Jesus king in your life, to follow Jesus, to become his disciple, whatever language you want to use in that. I believe that there is a decision that we all make as followers of Jesus. We all make that decision to follow him. And then baptism is a public declaration of that faith. Our church, on baptism, whenever we have baptism Sunday, they give t-shirts to people who have been baptized that say, this is what transformation looks like in public. Meaning that transformation, that is the relationship, that is the result of the relationship with Jesus that you have entered into. When we enter into a relationship with Jesus through the Holy Spirit, he begins to work. God begins to work in our lives, begins to move us, begins to shape us, and begins to transform us. And when we are baptized, we are making a public statement. We're getting in front of a group of people, and we're declaring that transformation that Jesus is bringing into our lives by mirroring his death, by going under the water, and then mirroring his resurrection by being raised to new life. And so for you, Deborah, to get back to your question, if you are at a place where you've made that decision to enter into that transforming relationship with Jesus, then absolutely, I think you should get baptized. I don't think you should delay in that. I think there is no better way, perhaps, to perhaps kick off that relationship, or perhaps even give new life to that relationship in your life if you've been following Jesus for a while, than to publicly declare that in front of a group of people. And I promise you, those people, they are going to celebrate with you. So Deborah, if that's where you're at in your faith, 100%, I think you should do that. I think that's awesome. So many So many really cool questions today. I love it. I love it. I love it. Nathan, let me know what the priest tells you about the angel of the Lord. I'd be really interested to hear what the Catholic Church teaches in regards to that. I would. Live asks, what are your thoughts on women preachers? So again, this is a pretty controversial topic in the church. Pretty controversial topic, I'm sure, even in this chat. I'm sure there are people in this chat who take a more what we would consider a traditional view of male headship and male leadership in the church. And then there are other people who go to a church with a female pastor. That is my case. My church, Soul City Church, it is pastored by a husband and wife, and I don't mean it's the husband who's the pastor and the wife is the pastor's wife. They are co-lead pastors together. They both lead the team. They both lead the church. They both teach from the stage. And I go to a church where they would say that we not only allow women to lead, but we expect women to lead. We not only allow women to teach, but we expect women to teach. And that is the conviction that I hold. I am a strong believer that God has given these gifts of leadership and of pastoring and of teaching and of understanding his word to everyone. He's given it to men as well as women. And for myself, I don't necessarily agree with the idea that God would give someone certain gifts and then limit them in the way that they would be able or should be able to exercise those gifts that could glorify him. And I know that might be a very controversial statement for some of you, and that is totally fine. I'm not saying that my thought and my specific belief on that is right. That is just what I believe. And trust me, that's not something you will ever hear me necessarily, or at least right now, that's not something you're going to hear me preach from a stage necessarily. Because there's a strong chance that I could totally be wrong, but that's what I believe. And the way that I personally have been blessed by female preachers and female teachers and female leaders in my life, the way that I've seen God use them is so incredible, and I'm so grateful for them. So absolutely, for me, since this is sort of the platform God has given me, I'll use it. If you are a female out there and you feel like God has given you gifts of teaching and gifts of pastoring, I think you should feel the freedom to go after that 100%. That's just what I believe. So. All right. Brian, thank you for your super chat. Brian's pointing out that Aiden Lancaster asked for prayer for someone. Let's see. Aiden. Sorry, I'm not. Aiden asked prayer for a little kid with brain cancer that is going to die soon. Absolutely. Aiden, we will be praying for that kid that you know. I encourage everyone to pray, and just want you to know I'm praying for anyone in the chat who is perhaps hurting or struggling or dealing with some sort of illness or diagnosis right now. We love you and we're praying for you. Rachel Smith asked, do you think it's extreme to move just so you can attend a specific church? Yes and no. I think it depends on the reason, Rachel. I think it depends on the reason that you would want to go to that church. Are you wanting to go to that church because you love their social media and you listen to their church podcast and their Instagram is incredible and everyone there looks so happy and wonderful, and you're comparing your church to their church and it just looks like the grass is greener? Maybe that's not a great reason. I'm not saying that's bad or that's sinful or that's wrong, but rather than the reason being, oh, I see everything that they're doing and their church just looks so amazing, do you feel as though God is perhaps moving you or the Spirit is leading you to make that move and begin to invest in that church? Or perhaps I think we need to check our hearts in those circumstances and ask, oh God, are you actually introducing me to this? And I'm just making up this scenario. This might not be the scenario at all for you. It might be a friend told you about this church and it's amazing or whatever. But to kind of go down the rabbit hole of this example, let's say it's a church you found online and it's a big mega church that has amazing social media and all of these things, amazing sermons, podcasts, things like that. Were you perhaps introduced to that as a resource that you can take learnings from that large established megachurch and actually be a better servant in your local church? I don't know. I'm just saying I think it's really, really important. I don't think it's black and white. I think it's really, really important for us to be discerning with these decisions that we make in the church communities that we invest in and where those church communities are. I think it's important to be discerning and sort of ask the Spirit to speak to us and to guide us in those circumstances. Thaddeus Summers asks, what are some good Christian books to read? Well, that is a huge question. I'm a big fan of books. I don't read nearly as much as I wish I did. I wish I read more. I'm working on it. I'm trying. But that depends on the specific topic that you are perhaps looking to study. I'm looking up above there because I'm looking at my bookshelf right now. So for example, for a good book on Christian living, for example, not too in-depth theologically or really nerdy Bible study, I would look at a book maybe like Love Does or Everybody Always, Bob Goff. Very, very practical, very accessible writing. If you're looking for something maybe a little bit less narrative, a little bit more on like spiritual disciplines and topics, I always recommend to people The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson, the best book I've ever read on prayer. That book was absolutely transformative to my prayer life and the way that I view prayer and the way that I engage with prayer. Let me think. If you're looking for something perhaps on the topic of doubt, this is a book that I'm reading right now. This is called The Skeptical Believer by Daniel Taylor. This is a book all about doubt and skepticism as a believer. And is it even possible to be skeptical and have questions and have doubts, but still be a believer? And this book is really just a series of it's a bunch of them, but it's a series of short essays. And it's been really encouraging and really thought-provoking. So like I said, there's tons of books out there. And those are just a few that I know of. I have a giant list in my phone of books that I want to read. And I will never be able to finish all of them because every time I finish one, I've added 12. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Abby asked, do you have any podcasts or music suggestions to listen to on a long road trip? I think you should listen to the Johncast, and I think you should listen to The Bear and the Swan. And I'm hoping that over the next 3 days, we're actually going to record a new episode of The Bear and the Swan. I am so excited. Anyway, yes, indeed. All right, friends, unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you to everyone who hopped on. Thank you to everyone who asked questions and gave in the super chat. I so appreciate you all. Yeah, my travel schedule is sort of slower this month, so I'm really hoping we can get back to being consistent with these Q&Js. I hope they were encouraging for you. I know it's always encouraging for me to be able to chat with you all. Yeah, I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Keep being awesome.